Hey, welcome back everybody. Rusty's Backyard RC. Today we're going to get back to our short list of Traxxas repairs. As I said in our previous video, on the one we replaced, put in a new motor on our slash two-wheel drive, we have Jen's Stampede. That's not wanting to go as fast as it should, and imagine it probably just needs a good slip plate adjustment. And then we have Mudbug. This is our Traxxas Sport. This was the crawler kit. On the front passenger wheel, it's got some wobble in it, so we need to do a wheel bearing replacement. So we'll be taking all that apart and getting in there, but let's take it out and put it on the sidewalk, nice flat surface, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Alright, so now you can see what I was talking about, the way that tire and wheel are wanting to wobble. So let's get down in here, break this apart, and change out a couple bearings. First thing I'm going to unhook is going to be the lockout cable. That way it's for the differential lockout. That way we'll be able to pull that axle completely out. And it's a one screw, and then basically just clips into there. And then we'll go ahead and put the screw back in, let it come out. Yep. Now that cable's free. Go ahead and get our tires and wheels off. So here are our portal axle assemblies. So next what we're going to do is unhook our lower suspension linkage, and when we do that, we're going to do it here, and that way the shocks will remain in place. Next we're going to unhook the panhard bar. On its side. And then we'll unhook our upper suspension linkage right here. And then that just leaves our steering linkage. And there is our front axle. Set this off to the side. Now you can see where our shocks are, There is our canhard bar. Lower suspension linkage, upper suspension linkage. Now we'll go ahead and pull under our steering linkage. This is the portal assembly that we're after, but I do have enough parts to rebuild both. But let's start with this one and get it pulled off there. So we need to undo the steering linkage from here. Alright, there's two screws, of course, that hold the portal assembly to the caster block. And then the drive shaft will pull right out of there. On the screws that hold the portal assembly in the caster block, they have what they call a kingpin bushing here. See that a little better. And what that does is that bushing goes and keeps the keeps our portal housing centered in within where it's mounted. So you want to make sure not to lose those. Okay, so this is the portal housing from the passenger side, the one that was giving us some trouble with that wobble. Let's just set one of our tires on here and see if we can still see that. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell there on camera. You can kind of see it. But I'm not sure exactly what's causing it. It could be the bushings are bad, or not the bushings, excuse me. The wheel bearings are bad. The portal axle, or they call it a sub-axle here, could be bent. I don't think there's a bit. Now that hub's a little side of that hub's just a little misshapen. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but right here. Looks like where the set screw for that wheel hub had come out a little bit further. It was right here. That's the set screw for the wheel hub. Could have misshapen the wheel, but it doesn't feel that bad. Or it could be that the portal sub-axle is bent here. But boy, it's hard to tell by looking at it. but we have new ones. Let's go ahead and get this one pulled apart, and we can check our bearings and our casing. Make sure that none of that is an issue. Doesn't look like there's any damage to the wheel hub. We'll put that pin back in there. Then there are 8 screws total holding the housing together, the casing together. 2 on the front above the sub-axle, and then 6 on the back side. I'm going to go ahead and use my impact. I do not get paid from these folks at Milwaukee, so I'm not endorsing their tools. I like their tools, but I'm not endorsing them. But it makes it a lot quicker. But for the record, when I use this, mostly when I use it is for taking things apart. Naturally, with it being an impact and all of the screw settings or where these screws go in, it'd be really easy to go to tighten everything back up and then over crank them and strip them out. So I choose to not do it that way when I go to reassemble them. Might get them started, but you got to be careful. It's plastic, so it's really easy to strip them out. Now with those removed, it should simply just pull apart. There you go. 2 sets of bearings there. This is where, of course, that's the bearing we're going to be interested in, and then the bearing on the back side here, but it doesn't look like there's any problems with it. It doesn't look misshapen. It's so hard, you can't, by the naked eye, you can't really tell if that's bent or not. Or at least I can't. Set that guy off to the side. Housing doesn't look damaged. Let's see if we can pop this bearing out. Just get a feel on it. Looks okay. Housing doesn't look damaged or misshapen. The inside looks good. Let's take our sub-axle. We'll put our wheel hub back on, and I think we're going to chuck it up in the drill and then see if we can still catch that wobble. And that may tell us that it's our shaft that's bent over a bad bearing, because the bearings look good. Put it here in the check. see if we can recreate it. Doesn't look bad that way. That looks pretty damn good. I don't think that shaft is bent. We'll go ahead and pull this bearing out and replace it. Well, the part number for that bearing is 5180A. It is a 6 by 13 by 5 millimeter. This is the old one, and this is the new one. It doesn't look like there's any damage to it. Let's see. Alright, go ahead and drop that back in. Got a bit of bearing grease. And I'm just going to barely put a little bit in there. Back in. And then we'll do the final tighten down with a Allen wrench. Put our wheel hub back in. On. I thought maybe, like I said before, like that nut or the screw there had backed its way out over time, and at some point I pulled a tire off and didn't pull the wheel off and didn't notice it. And then when I put the wheel back on and tightened it down, it marred the inside here. You can see there's a little bit of a notch on that side and a little bit of a notch on that side, but it still doesn't look like there's any issue with that. and then it just slides on. Then it just kind of, I turn my hand here. There it goes. Steering linkage back in, or back together. Well, let's just get it put back in and see what happens. Alrighty. Run our cable back through there. Upper linkage put back together. Alright, let's get our drive shaft put in. Nope. And do the panhard bar. The steering linkage to the steering servo. Now our lower linkage and shocks. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and hook the battery up, and then when we go to put the wheels back on, then we can fire it up and see if we got that taken care of. That wobble's gone. Well, I think what you got to do is we should take it outside, put it on the side. Oh, need to get our differential lockout hook back in. Let's go ahead and unplug it. But I think we should take it out and put it on the sidewalk and see what it does now. And hopefully it looks a lot better than it did before, so I'm hoping that that is what the problem was just that bearing. And that's the case. Then we could get on to our next repair, which will be adjusting the slip plate on the Stampede. So, okay, toss the body back on and we'll take it outside, see what it does. All right, success. So as you can see, we got that wheel bearing swapped out and our wobble was gone, which is great because I actually thought maybe that the sub-axle itself was bent, but it's really difficult to be able to tell. It's so small. So if anybody has any suggestions or ideas of how to check the trueness of the sub-axle that small, please leave it in the comments. So we've got mud bug taken care of. We got our motor replaced in the slash. Next on our list of repairs for Traxxas is going to be Jen's Stampede. Like I said, it's just not moving as fast as it should, and I think probably what it is because, you know, we all like to pop some wheelies, and I think what it is just the slip plate needs to be adjusted, which will be a little bit different than doing it on, of course, the slash, because it's in, can you see there? It's in there. That's where our gearbox is. So it's going to be a little more tedious getting to that slip plate, but we'll get it done. So put that off over here. Loud, loud, loud. Okay, there we go. I really want to get through these repairs. We've got a whole wall, well, 2 walls of parts to go through. I've got a bunch of parts over here. I've got a bunch of little guy parts over there. Axle, RC 4-wheel drive, RC all-wheel drive. So there's a lot of builds coming up. So I'm going to need to make sure you stick around for those too. But anyway, so next up will be our Traxxas Stampede repair. But so for now, we'll see you later, and make sure stay charged.